Hello, and welcome to Today we're talking about a card that has been requested by one of the viewers, Goblin Charbelcher. So, if you want to see a specific combo explanation, comment down below or tweet me and I'll add it to my list and I might make a video from it. And if you end up liking this video, consider subbing and liking. Okay, so Charbelcher, a 3-cost artifact that says pay 3, tap it, and reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. Goblin Charbelcher deals damage equal to the number of non-land cards revealed this way to any target. If the revealed land card was a mountain, it deals double that damage instead. Put the revealed cards on the bottom of your library in any order. So this does seem janky, but surprisingly it has seen fringe play in Legacy, a very competitive format, so it can't be all bad. And just because I've never seen it played in EDH doesn't mean we can't try. But first, let's quickly look at that Legacy Charbelcher deck to understand this artifact. The deck is very straightforward. You have your Charbelchers, and you have one expensive land, either a Taiga or a Russian Foil Stomping Grounds, your choice, but you only get one. The reason for this is because we're also playing for land grants, which lets you search for a forest and put it into your hand. But if you have no lands in your hand, you can reveal your hand and play land grant for free. So it's kinda like we're playing 5 lands. The rest of the deck is just spells that make more mana than they're worth, like the spirit guides, the rituals, 0-cost artifacts, etc. And throw in some cantrips for free draws, and that's really the deck. The goal is to get Belcher out and activate it after you remove your only land from the deck, so you reveal your whole deck and knock your opponent over the head with that damage. There's also a backup plan to storm off, but that's not why we're here, so forget it. So, now you know the power of Charbelcher, let's talk about it in EDH. First off, a 1-land deck won't work in EDH, but Charbelcher can still be viable in a 100-card deck, and I'm kinda surprised I haven't seen it as a back pocket win con yet. There are several cards that can remove all lands from your deck so you can dome an opponent for 60 damage with Charbelcher. Cards like Mana Severance and Trench Gorger both allow you to exile any amount of lands in your deck. Endless Horizons is similar, but it only allows you to exile planes from your deck. But on each of your turns, you can play one of those exiled planes. This would probably work best in a mono white deck, but luckily Charbelcher is colorless, so you can do that. A lot of these combos work best in monocolored decks, like Splinter and Liquid Metal Coating. Splinter lets you exile an artifact and then search its controller's hand, graveyard, and library for any other cards with the same name as that artifact, and exile those cards. Liquid Metal Coating can be tapped to turn something into an artifact. So if you turn your own forest into an artifact and then exile it with Splinter, you can exile all cards with the name Forest in your deck. You can do the same thing with Eradicate, a black card that lets you exile a non-black creature and search its controller's hand, graveyard, and deck for all cards with that name and exile them. So if you can turn a swamp into a non-black creature, like with an Awaken card, you can exile all cards named Swamp from your deck. Same is true with Scour if you can turn any land into an enchantment with Enchanted Evening or something like that. You get the point. The issue for this is that for these combos to truly work, you can only play basic lands as your mana base, which kinda sucks. So let's look at better ways to make this work. You could do the Emiria Shepherd Sakura Tribe Elder combo. The Shepherd says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you can return a permanent from your graveyard to your hand. But if that land was a plains that entered, you return that permanent to the battlefield instead. Sakura Tribe Elder, or Steve, lets you sack it to search for a basic land and put it into play tapped. So if you have the Shepherd and Tribe Elder out, you can sack Steve to grab a plains, it comes in tapped. And the landfall triggers on your Shepherd and you get to bring a permanent back from your graveyard to the battlefield. You can bring back Steve and sack him again for another plains to keep looping it to pull all the plains out of your deck. You can't grab non-plains and return Steve to your hand and replay him, it's just slower and costs mana. But if you have Prismatic Omen or Dryad of the Elysian Grove out, all of your lands are all basic land type, so any basic you grab with Steve will enter as a plains and let you bring them back to the battlefield. Similarly, the Nightfall combo. Knight of the Reliquary gets +1/+1 for each land in your graveyard, but more importantly, you can tap her and sack a plains or forest to search for any land in your deck and put it on the battlefield. Retreat to Coral Helm says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you can tap or untap a creature or scry one. So you can tap your knight to sack a forest or plains and grab any land. Because a land entered, you can untap the knight with retreat to Coral Helm to repeat the process, and pull all your lands out of your deck. Just make sure you have enough plains and or forests to sack to grab all your lands. Like before, Prismatic Omen and Dryad help by making all your lands, forests, and plains to sack to the knight. And finally, my favorite way to set up your Charbelcher shot is with Proteus Staff, but it requires you to have no creatures in your deck. Proteus Staff says pay 2 and a blue and tap it to put target creature on the bottom of its owner's library. Its controller reveals cards from the top of their deck until they reveal a creature. They put that creature into play and put all revealed cards on the bottom of their deck in any order. That is the key part, in any order. So say you have your commander out, you can tuck it with Proteus Staff to the bottom of your deck, and since there are no other creatures in your deck, you reveal your whole deck and put your commander back into play. Now, because you put all revealed cards on the bottom of your deck in any order, you can order your whole deck and put all the lands at the bottom. And if you're playing red, you can put a mountain as a first land to come up to double your damage. You just activate Charbelcher, revealing all non-land cards in your deck, hit the mountain, and probably kill an opponent. On your next turn, tuck your commander again to repeat the process. And that is how you can remove all the lands from your deck or reorder your deck to win with Charbelcher in EDH. Will you try this extreme jank combo in EDH, or do you already have Charbelcher as a secret tech in one of your decks? Let me know down below. And when you need another combo, come back here to Combo Breakdown.